Have you ever wondered why Paul, the great missionary, would join men who had shaved their heads in an Old Testament vow? Acts 21 gives us that answer, and a powerful lesson about humility. The book of Acts wasn't written by Paul. It was written by Luke, a physician, a close travel companion of Paul, and a careful historian. In Acts 21, verse 8, Luke reminds us that Philip was one of the 7. That takes us back to Acts chapter 6, when 7 men were chosen to serve the early church faithfully. Philip's presence here shows the continuity of God's work, from the first servants to the great missionary journeys. Then in Acts 21, verse 24, we see something surprising. Paul joins 4 men in completing a purification vow. Why? Not because it saved him, not because he needed more holiness, but because rumors were spreading, rumors that he taught Jews to abandon Moses and reject their traditions. That wasn't true. Paul taught salvation through Christ alone, while still respecting his heritage. To clear up the rumors, James and the elders suggested Paul join 4 men in a Nazirite vow, a special act of devotion described in Numbers 6. At the end of such a vow, men shaved their heads and offered sacrifices in the temple. By participating and even paying their expenses, Paul showed everyone he still valued the law and Jewish customs. This was an act of humility, not compromise. Paul believed in becoming all things to all people, so that nothing would block the message of Christ. By laying down his pride, he removed barriers so the gospel could be heard clearly. Ironically, this peaceful act didn't prevent opposition. Soon after, a mob was stirred up against him in the temple, leading to his arrest. But still, the example remains. Paul chose humility to keep the door open for God's word. Takeaway: faithfulness isn't only about what I believe, it's about how I live, so others can see Christ. Like Paul, I may need to lay down my preferences, my pride, even my rights, not to earn salvation, but so the gospel shines brighter through me. Humility opens doors. Is there an area in your life where humility could open a door for others to see Christ in you? Bonus reflection: Christ's example of humility. Paul's humility in Acts 21 opened doors for the gospel to be heard, but it points us to an even greater example: Christ's choice to humble himself. Philippians chapter 2 says that Jesus, who was in very nature God, did not cling to his rights as God. Instead, he willingly made himself nothing. He took on the form of a servant and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. Jesus humbled himself, not because he was weak, but because he was strong enough to lay down his rights out of love. That's the difference. Humility isn't weakness, it's strength used for love. Christ's choice to humble himself opened the door of salvation itself. Paul's humility opened doors for the gospel to be heard. And in our lives today, choosing humility can open doors for others to see Christ in us. Where pride builds walls, humility opens doors. This was Bible study number 1 with UnboundLight music. Join me again as we uncover the treasures of God's Word, one passage at a time.